The video that ended Kevin Bradshaw's career in 4 minutes started with a mistake. Not Bradshaw's. Not yet. The mistake belonged to a news helicopter pilot who flew too low over Riverside Mall's Black Friday crowd, rotor wash scattering promotional flyers across the parking lot. Most shoppers kept walking. James Sullivan, 34-year-old night security guard restocking rope barriers, dropped to combat crouch, head tracking aircraft trajectory, hand reaching for weapon that hadn't existed in 5 years. 3 seconds. Enough for Maya Patel, 17, to film it. Enough for 2 million people to recognize what classified missions couldn't reveal. Reflexes that only 23 operations under enemy fire could build. Before we continue, if stories of quiet dignity and unsung heroes resonate with you, tell me where you're watching from. This story of James Sullivan reminds us that true strength shows itself in how we treat others when we have every right to strike back. I read every comment. The Riverside Mall operations office sits on the 3rd floor, overlooking the main concourse through floor-to-ceiling windows streaked with handprints and condensation. Fluorescent panels buzz overhead, 2 of them flickering in irregular patterns that create strobe effects across the gray industrial carpet. Metal filing cabinets line one wall, their drawers labeled with masking tape and Sharpie. A coffee maker on the corner desk gurgles, producing liquid the color of transmission fluid. Everything here smells of burnt coffee and the particular staleness that comes from recycled air. Kevin Bradshaw stands behind his desk, surveying his domain. At 42, he maintains the posture of someone who once trained for something greater. Chest artificially expanded, shoulders squared with conscious effort rather than habit. His gray suit fits too snugly across a midsection that betrays Friday lunch buffets at the food court. Dark brown hair gelled into submission shows gray at the temples. He applies too much product, always has, creating a sheen that catches the fluorescent light. His shoes, black Oxfords polished to military shine, represent the only genuine remnant of the man he tried to become, the man he failed to become. Bud S. Class 347. Hell Week Day 4. Water temperature 58 degrees. Bradshaw lasted until hypothermia pulled him out during surf torture, shaking so violently the instructors couldn't ignore it anymore. 17 years ago. He still tastes salt water in nightmares. Now he manages a shopping mall in suburban Pennsylvania, commands a force of minimum-wage security guards and part-time custodians, exercises authority over teenagers working seasonal retail. It's not leading a SEAL platoon through Ramadi, but it's something. It's what he has. His phone vibrates. Black Friday coordination group chat. Someone reports a crowd surge near the east entrance. Bradshaw's jaw tightens. He grabs his radio, thumbs the transmit button. All units, this is Bradshaw. I want visual confirmation on east entrance crowd control. Sullivan, you copy? Static. Then a voice, quiet and measured. Copy. En route. James Sullivan walks through the lower concourse, weaving between shoppers with economy of movement that suggests more than casual awareness. At 34, he carries himself with the controlled precision of someone who learned that wasted motion can cost lives. Sandy brown hair in a crew cut maintained by habit, not regulation. Green-gray eyes that scan without appearing to scan. A nose broken sometime in the past, healed slightly crooked. He wears the standard security uniform. Navy polo, black cargo pants, tactical boots that cost more than 2 weeks' salary because feet matter when you're on them for 12 hours. The uniform doesn't fit right. None of them do. 5 years out, and civilian clothes still feel like costumes. He reaches the east entrance, assesses the situation in 3 seconds. Crowd dense but flowing. No bottlenecks, no panic indicators. He keys his radio. East entrance stable. No action required. Bradshaw's voice crackles back. I didn't ask for your assessment, Sullivan. I asked for visual confirmation. Sullivan's thumb hovers over the transmit button, counts 3 heartbeats. Visual confirmed. Crowd stable. He releases the button before Bradshaw can respond. The thing about authority, real authority, the kind earned in places where authority means the difference between everyone coming home and body bags, is that you stop needing to announce it. You just have it. It radiates from your posture, your decisions, the way you move through chaos without contributing to it, Bradshaw announces constantly. Sullivan walks the perimeter, checking sight lines, emergency exits, potential flashpoints, muscle memory from different missions in different places. A mall in Pennsylvania isn't Kandahar, but patterns are patterns. Crowds are crowds. His hand drifts to his hip 3 times in 10 minutes, reaching for a sidearm that isn't there. Hasn't been there since his DD-214 was signed. The phantom weight still pulls at his belt. He stops near the food court. Beside a stack of rope barriers waiting for deployment, shoppers stream past, clutching bags, checking phones, arguing about parking spaces. Normal people living normal lives. He used to be one of them. Before. Now he stands outside normalcy, watching through glass he can't quite touch. The helicopter appears at 10:47 a.m., Channel 7 News, covering Black Friday shopping madness from the air. The pilot drops too low, rotor wash creating a miniature storm in the parking lot. Promotional flyers scatter. A woman's hat flies off. Car alarms trigger in sympathetic response. Sullivan's body reacts before his mind registers the sound. Drops to one knee. Head snaps up, tracking the aircraft's trajectory with mathematical precision. Right hand reaches across his body to where his holster used to sit. Left hand extends, palm out, the signal for cover that his team would recognize instantly. His breathing shifts, shallow and controlled. Eyes narrow, assessing threat level, calculating ranges, identifying cover positions. 3 seconds. That's all it takes. 3 seconds for 17-year-old Maya Patel, filming her friend's shopping haul for TikTok, to swing her phone toward the movement in her peripheral vision. 3 seconds for her to capture the kind of reflex that can't be faked, can't be trained in civilian life, can't exist without specific experiences that leave specific scars. 3 seconds that will change everything. Sullivan recovers, standing slowly. His jaw tightens. Nobody around him reacted. Nobody dove for cover. Nobody reached for weapons that don't exist. Just him. Just the broken part that won't heal. He forces his breathing back to normal, picks up the rope barrier he dropped, returns to work. Maya Patel stares at her phone screen, replaying the footage. Her friend leans over. "Did you see that security guard? What the hell was that?" Maya's thumb hovers over the share button. She's 17. She understands virality the way previous generations understood television or radio. She can feel when something matters. She posts it. Caption: "Security guard at Riverside Mall just went full SWAT for a news helicopter?" Hashtags: Black Friday, Riverside Mall, Mall Security, WTF. 10:49 a.m. The video enters the digital ecosystem. In the operations office, Kevin Bradshaw watches the concourse cameras, searching for problems to solve, authority to exercise, respect to command. His phone sits on the desk, screen dark. Not for long. The Riverside Mall security break room occupies a converted storage closet on the 2nd floor. Concrete walls painted institutional beige decades ago, now faded to something closer to surrender. A folding table holds a microwave that sparks when you use the popcorn setting. Plastic chairs with uneven legs. A water cooler that dispenses liquid lukewarm regardless of which button you press. Everything smells of instant noodles and desperation. Sullivan sits alone, eating a sandwich he packed 7 hours ago. Turkey and lettuce on wheat. No condiments. They make the bread soggy. He learned that deployed, where every meal came from a pouch and freshness was a memory. Now he packs lunches with the same methodical precision he once packed magazines. His phone vibrates. Text from his sister. "Happy Thanksgiving yesterday. Miss you." He stares at it. Thanksgiving was yesterday. He worked, volunteered for the shift. Holidays are harder alone, easier working. He types, "Miss you too." Deletes it. Types, "You too." Sends. The door opens. Marcus Webb, 55, head of security, walks in carrying coffee in a thermos that's older than most of the guards. Former Army MP, 2 deployments to Desert Storm. The kind of veteran who transitioned clean, built a civilian life, doesn't wake up reaching for weapons. Sullivan. Webb sits across from him. Bradshaw's in a mood. Heads up. When isn't he? Webb's eyes hold something that might be sympathy. Man's got issues, but he's still the boss. Just watch yourself. Sullivan nods. Webb leaves. Watch yourself. Good advice. Sullivan's been watching himself for 5 years. Watching himself buy groceries. Watching himself sleep alone. Watching himself flinch at helicopters. The watching never ends. 10:52 a.m. Maya Patel's video reaches 1,000 views. The algorithm notices. Engagement metrics spike. Comments flood in. Bro went into combat mode. That's not normal security guard training, LMAO. My dad was Army Ranger and he does the exact same thing when planes fly low. Riverside Mall hiring actual operators now? One comment, posted by Weimar SEAL Team Vet, 2004. That's not civilian training. That's muscle memory from real operations. Specific hand signal at 002. That's SEAL Team cover protocol. The video reaches 5,000 views. Sullivan finishes his sandwich, returns to the floor. Unaware. In the operations office, Bradshaw's phone buzzes. Group text from other mall managers. Your security guy is going viral, bro. Link to the video. Bradshaw watches it once, twice, 3 times. His jaw tightens. That crouch, that stance, the kind of fluid movement Bradshaw tried to learn for 6 weeks in Coronado before his body quit. The kind of automatic response that only comes from real operations, real missions, real SEALs. His thumb turns white against the phone screen. 10:55 a.m. The video reaches 15,000 views. Someone recognizes the mall. Someone else identifies it as Riverside in Pennsylvania. Local news picks it up. Channel 7, the same station whose helicopter triggered the response, sends a reporter. Sarah Chen, 31, investigative journalist who covered military stories before switching to local news, watches the footage in the news van. Her producer leans over. It's just a security guard overreacting. Sarah shakes her head. That's not overreacting. That's training. Expensive training. She grabs her microphone. I want to interview him. 11:03 a.m. Sullivan restocks rope barriers near the center court, where a massive Christmas tree waits for tonight's lighting ceremony. Shoppers flow around him like water around a stone. He exists in their peripheral vision, necessary but invisible. His radio crackles. Sullivan. Operations office. Now. Bradshaw's voice carries an edge Sullivan recognizes. The edge of a man whose authority feels threatened. Sullivan's dealt with that before. In the teams, they called it small man syndrome, people who needed rank to feel power. He heads upstairs. The operations office feels smaller when Bradshaw's angry. The man stands behind his desk, arms crossed, face carrying the particular red flush of someone whose blood pressure runs high. Sit. Sullivan remains standing. Old habit. Never sit when you can stand. Never stand when you can move. Never stay still when you can create distance. Bradshaw's eye twitches. I said sit. I'm good standing. Sir, that wasn't a request. Sullivan sits, slowly, maintains eye contact. Bradshaw breaks first, looking at his phone instead. You want to explain this? He turns the screen. Sullivan watches himself drop into combat crouch, reach for a weapon that doesn't exist, signal for cover that won't come. Watches the 3 seconds that defined him, exposed on a teenager's phone for the world to judge. His jaw tightens. News helicopter flew low, startled me. Startled you? Bradshaw's voice drips with something ugly. Startled you into playing soldier? Into embarrassing this mall? Into making us look like we hired some PTSD case who can't handle normal sounds? The words land like fists. Sullivan's hands grip the armrests. His breathing stays controlled. Controlled is everything. Lose control. Lose everything. It was an involuntary response, sir. Involuntary. Bradshaw leans forward. You know what else is involuntary? Me firing people who make this mall look unprofessional. This video has 20,000 views. 20,000 people watching my security guard freak out over a helicopter. 30,000 now, actually. The view counter updates in real time. Sullivan says nothing. There's nothing to say. The response was involuntary. Involuntary means automatic. Automatic means trained. Trained means years of conditioning that won't uncondition because civilian life demands it. Bradshaw's phone buzzes. He glances at it. His face changes. A new comment, posted by a Navy command official, can confirm that specific defensive posture and hand signal protocol in video, consistent with SEAL team combat training, requesting identification of individual for verification. The room goes quiet. Bradshaw looks up slowly, studies Sullivan with new eyes, calculating eyes. You were military. Yes, sir. What branch? Sullivan's jaw works. Navy, sir. Navy. Bradshaw's voice carries something sharp now. Dangerous. What did you do in the Navy, Sullivan? The question hangs between them. Heavy. Loaded. Sullivan could lie. Could say he was a cook, a mechanic, something safe. But the video exists. The comments exist. The truth is leaking whether he confirms it or not. Special warfare operator. The words drop like grenades. Bradshaw goes very still. SEAL. Yes, sir. Something crosses Bradshaw's face. Not respect, not admiration. Something darker, older. The look of a man who tried to become something and failed, now facing someone who succeeded. His phone buzzes again. The video reaches 50,000 views. But what happened next is what shocked everyone. See? The tension in the operations office thickens like humidity before a storm. Bradshaw stands behind his desk, phone clutched in his hand, watching numbers climb. 50,000, 52,000, 55,000. Each view another witness to what he sees as humiliation. What the comments are calling something else entirely. Military analysis posts. Frame-by-frame analysis. Subject demonstrates textbook SEAL team immediate action drill. Cover signal at 0.02 specific to naval special warfare. Weapon reach consistent with SOF holster placement. This individual has significant operational experience. A veteran advocate responds, tracked aircraft trajectory with precision suggesting anti-air threat assessment training. Not standard infantry, not standard Navy. This is specialized. Sullivan sits motionless, watching Bradshaw read comments. The manager's face cycles through emotions, confusion, recognition, something that might be envy fermenting into anger. How long? Bradshaw's voice comes out tight. Sir? How long were you a SEAL? Sullivan's fingers tap his thigh once. Old, nervous habit. 8 years operational, 2 years training pipeline before that. Operational. Bradshaw tastes the word. Deployments? 7. Afghanistan? And other places. What other places? Places I can't discuss, sir. Bradshaw's jaw clenches. The Sir Sullivan keeps using doesn't carry respect. It carries the particular courtesy that military people extend to civilian authority. Technically correct. Fundamentally hollow. The manager's phone buzzes again. His eyes widen. A new video has appeared. Same incident. Different angle. Someone else filmed it. This version shows Sullivan's face clearly. Shows the absolute zero hesitation between helicopter sound and response. Shows something else too. The moment after, when Sullivan realizes what he's done. The flash of shame. The careful reassembly of his civilian mask. This video includes audio. The helicopter's rotor wash. Traffic sounds. And underneath it all, barely audible. Sullivan's voice, so quiet, it's almost subvocal. Cover, 3 o'clock. Calling out sectors, directing a team that isn't there. Comments explode. Holy shit, he's calling tactical positions to nobody. My uncle does this. He was Delta Force. The training never leaves. This man is operating on pure instinct. Probably saved his whole team doing exactly this overseas. Or a Gold Star Mom 2017 comments. My son did this after his first deployment. Called sectors at the grocery store. Called movement protocols at family dinners. He couldn't turn it off. We lost him to PTSD 3 years ago. Someone please check on this man. The comment gets 3. Sorcerer likes in minutes. Sarah Chen, the Channel 7 reporter, arrives at the mall's main entrance with her cameraman. She's done her research in the van, pulled up military databases, scanned Navy SEAL casualty lists, cross-referenced names with Riverside Mall employment records. James Sullivan, 34. Petty Officer First Class, retired. Enlisted 2007. BUD S Class 301. SEAL Team Deployment History. Classified. Awards. Classified. Current employment. Minimum wage security guard. Something doesn't add up. You don't go from SEAL team to mall security without a story, usually a painful one. She approaches the information desk. I'm looking for James Sullivan, security guard. I'd like to speak with him. The teenager at the desk looks nervous. I think he's in a meeting with Mr. Bradshaw. The manager? Yeah. Sarah's instincts fire. A meeting right after the video goes viral. Not good. She heads for the elevators. In the operations office, Bradshaw leans forward, phone in Sullivan's face. 60,000 views, comments calling you a hero, news stations picking it up. Do you understand what this does to my authority? Sullivan blinks slowly. Your authority? I run this mall, I give the orders, I set the standards. Now I've got some viral video making it look like I've got operators on my security team, making people think they need combat veterans to feel safe shopping. It's excessive. It's inappropriate. It was 3 seconds. 3 seconds that make me look like I don't know who I'm hiring. Sullivan's hands grip the armrests tighter. A small tell. The only tell. You knew my background when you hired me. It's on my resume. Your resume said Navy, honorable discharge. It didn't say you were some special forces operator. You didn't ask. Bradshaw's face flushes deeper. I'm asking now. What did you do? What operations? What missions? Classified. Bullshit. Sir, my operational history is classified. I legally cannot discuss. This is my mall. Bradshaw slams his hand on the desk. Papers jump, coffee sloshes. You work for me. I have a right to know. Sullivan goes very still. The kind of still that predators recognize. The kind that precedes violence or perfect control. He chooses control. With respect, sir, you have the right to my employment history, which you have. My military service record beyond discharge status is protected information. I can't change that even if I wanted to. Bradshaw stares at him, really stares, searching for something. You think you're better than this? Not a question, an accusation. Better than mall security, better than taking orders from someone like me. Sullivan's voice stays level. I think I'm doing my job. Your job. Bradshaw laughs, sharp and bitter. Your job is to check bags and tell teenagers they can't skateboard. That's it. That's all you are now. Whatever you were before, whatever these people commenting think you are, that's gone. You're just another guard in a cheap uniform making $11 an hour. The words are designed to wound. Bradshaw knows about uniforms, about the difference between the one you earn and the one you're assigned. He spent 6 weeks trying to earn the right to wear SEAL Trident, failed, walked away with nothing but shame and a medical discharge for hypothermia. Now he gives orders to someone who succeeded. It burns like salt water in his lungs. Sullivan's phone vibrates in his pocket. He ignores it, maintains eye contact with Bradshaw, waiting for the manager to make the next move. Bradshaw's phone buzzes again. He glances at it. 100 Ozrin views. A new comment from SEAL Team Memorial. We recognize this response pattern. If this individual served with honor, he deserves respect, not viral mockery. Requesting mall management treat this situation with appropriate sensitivity to veteran mental health. Bradshaw's eye twitches. Appropriate sensitivity. They're telling him how to manage his own employee. Strangers on the internet, demanding he handle this with care, when all he sees is his authority undermined by 3 seconds of muscle memory. You're suspended, Bradshaw says. Sullivan's expression doesn't change. Sir? Suspended. Pending review. Your response to that helicopter was inappropriate and alarming. I need to assess whether you're fit for duty in a civilian environment. I've worked here 14 months without incident. You've worked here 14 months hiding what you are. That changes things. What I am. Sullivan repeats it slowly. What am I? Bradshaw leans back, arms crossed. The posture of someone who's made a decision and won't be moved. Someone who can't handle normal civilian situations without going into combat mode. Someone who makes shoppers nervous. Someone who needs evaluation before I can trust them around the public. The words hang between them. Outside, Sarah Chen reaches the 3rd floor, approaches the operations office, raises her hand to knock. Inside, Sullivan stands slowly. Am I dismissed? You're suspended, 2 weeks unpaid. Leave your radio and badge. Sullivan unclips the radio from his belt, places it on the desk. The badge follows. Both land with small, final sounds. He turns to leave. Sullivan. He stops. Doesn't turn around. Bradshaw's voice carries something ugly, triumphant. Whatever you were before, it doesn't mean anything here. Here, I'm the authority, not you. Remember that when you're sitting at home wondering why nobody cares about your service. Sullivan's shoulders tighten, just for a second, then release. He opens the door. Sarah Chen stands there, microphone in hand, cameraman behind her. James Sullivan? I'm Sarah Chen, Channel 7 News. Can I ask you about the video? Sullivan looks at her, at the camera, at the red recording light. No comment. He walks past. Behind him, Bradshaw's phone explodes with notifications. The video has reached 200,000 views. And someone just identified exactly which operation Sullivan's team designation matches. The parking lot stretches empty under gray November sky. Sullivan walks to his truck, a 2008 Ford Ranger with primer spots on the fender and 190,000 miles of faithful service. He climbs in, sits, stares at the mall entrance. 14 months. Not a long employment, but the longest he's held since discharge. Before this, warehouse work, 8 months. Construction, 5 months. Private security, 3 weeks before the panic attack. Nothing sticks. Nothing fits. His phone buzzes. Text from Marcus Webb. What the hell happened? Sullivan doesn't answer. Can't explain that Bradshaw suspended him for being what Bradshaw tried to become. Can't explain that 3 seconds of muscle memory cost him another job. Can't explain that he's tired. So tired. His thoughts drift backward. Always backward, when the forward is uncertain. 2019. Helmand Province, Afghanistan. Operation Resolute Guardian. The mission that ended his career before the paperwork knew it. The target, Taliban commanders, holding 200-plus civilians in a compound outside Lashkar Gah. Hostage situation during failed peace negotiations. Civilians include American aid workers, Afghan government officials, village elders caught in the wrong place during the wrong meeting. Sullivan's team, 8 SEALs. Supporting element, Rangers and Afghan Special Forces. Timeline, 36 hours before executions begin. Commander James Sullivan. Lieutenant then, not the petty officer first class who signed his DD 214, runs point on entry plan. The compound sits in a valley, high walls, single entrance easily defended. Direct assault will cost lives. They need another way. He finds it. Storm drain network beneath the compound, built during Soviet occupation. Maps are old, unreliable, could be collapsed, could be flooded, could be rigged with explosives. I'll check it, Sullivan tells his CO. Take Rivera. Marcus Rivera, 28. Chicago kid who joined the Navy to escape gang territory and found family in the teams instead. Best breacher Sullivan ever worked with. Could read a building structure like others read books. Together, they're lethal. They enter the drain at 0200. Chest-deep water. Pitch black. Night vision shows walls closing in. Sullivan's breathing stays controlled. Rivera follows. One hand on Sullivan's shoulder, trusting completely. 300 meters in, they find the access point. Ancient Soviet engineering. Metal grate beneath the compound's main hall. They can hear voices above. Taliban commanders arguing about whether to start executions early. Send a message. Sullivan keys his mic, whispers, "We have access. Compound vulnerable from below." The assault happens at dawn. Sullivan's team enters through the drain while Rangers create diversion at the front gate. Textbook. Perfect, until it isn't. The Taliban anticipated drain access, rigged it with pressure plates. Sullivan's team is halfway through when the first detonation hits. Not massive. Shaped charge designed to collapse the tunnel, trap them inside. Rivera takes shrapnel. Goes down. Sullivan drags him back, water turning red. "Leave me," Rivera says. Blood bubbles at his lips. Punctured lung. Maybe worse. "Never. Mission first. People need you. You need me." Sullivan calls for medevac while his team pushes forward without him. They complete the mission. Save all 200 hostages. 0 SEAL casualties. Except Rivera dies during evac. Bleeds out in the helicopter, hand gripping Sullivan's, asking him to promise something impossible. Tell them it mattered." Sullivan promises. Watches the light leave Rivera's eyes. Carries that weight home. The Navy gives him medals. Classified medals for classified mission. Tells him it was a success. Tells him Rivera's sacrifice saved hundreds. Tells him to be proud. Sullivan can't be proud. Can only remember the promise. Tell them it mattered. How? Rivera's family gets a flag and a letter that says nothing. The mission stays classified. The hostages never learn names. The world never knows. Tell them it mattered. Sullivan tried. Stayed in the team 6 more months. Couldn't. Every mission felt wrong. Every success felt hollow. The weight of Rivera's death, of all the deaths, of all the secrets, crushed him. He requested discharge. They tried to convince him otherwise. "You're one of our best." Best at what? Surviving when others don't? He signed the papers, left, became civilian, became nothing. Now he sits in a truck in a mall parking lot, suspended for having reflexes that saved lives. His phone buzzes. Unknown number. "Mr. Sullivan? This is Patricia Chen. I was at the mall today. I saw what happened with the helicopter." Sullivan's jaw tightens. "I'm not giving interviews. I'm not a reporter. My son was a Marine, Kyle Chen. He died in Helmand Province, 2017. I saw your response to that helicopter. I've seen that response before. My son did the same thing at his homecoming dinner. Dropped under the table when someone popped a champagne bottle." Sullivan says nothing. Patricia continues, voice thick. "They suspended you, didn't they? The mall. For having PTSD. It's not. It is. And it's not fair. None of this is fair. You served. You sacrificed. And now they punish you for it." "Ma'am, my son couldn't handle civilian life either. Tried. Worked construction for a year. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't function. The VA waitlist was 6 months. He didn't have 6 months." The silence carries understanding. "I'm sorry," Sullivan says. "Don't be sorry. Be angry. What they're doing to you. It's what killed my son. Treating symptoms of service like character flaws. I filmed it too, different angle, and I'm posting it everywhere. With context. With his name, Kyle Chen, and yours, if you'll let me." Sullivan exhales slowly. "Why? Because people need to know, need to understand what you carry, what you all carry." She hangs up. Sullivan sits in silence, watching his phone. 30 seconds later, a new video appears. Patricia's footage. Same incident. But the caption reads, "This is James Sullivan, Navy SEAL veteran. This is what service looks like after the uniform comes off. This is what we ignore when we thank people for their service, then turn away when they're struggling. This is real. This is American heroes trying to survive the peace they fought to protect. Share this. Make people see." The video uploads at 11:47 a.m. By 11:50 it has 10,000 shares. By noon, 50. Research. By 12:15 it's on the national news. In the operations office, Bradshaw watches his phone screen, face draining of color. The story is no longer about a security guard overreacting. It's about a SEAL being punished for service, and the internet has opinions, strong ones. People see what they expect to see. A janitor in coveralls, a guard in cheap uniform. They miss the hero because they never learned to look past the surface. Bradshaw looked and saw a threat to his authority. The world looked and saw something else entirely. The reckoning approaches. Fast. The Riverside Mall food court transforms into impromptu war room by 12:30 p.m. Sarah Chen commandeers a table near the closed Sparrow, laptop open, phone on speaker. 3 other reporters crowding around. The story is metastasizing beyond local news. National networks calling, military bloggers requesting comments, veterans advocacy groups mobilizing. Patricia Chen's video reaches 1 million views. Someone creates a hashtag, Justice for Sullivan. Someone else identifies the exact SEAL team Sullivan belonged to based on deployment timelines, cross-referenced with classified operation leaks. They're wrong about the details, operation names, locations, dates, but they're right about the essence. James Sullivan is exactly who he appears to be. A comment appears, posted by an account created 10 minutes earlier. Username, Trident Brother 2019. I served with Sullivan, Operation Resolute Guardian, Helmand Province. Can't say more. But what I can say, this man saved 200 lives, lost his best friend doing it, carried that weight home, and now he's being punished for having the reflexes that made the save possible. Bradshaw. If you're reading this, you have no idea who you just suspended. None. The comment gets pinned, shared, screenshot, and posted across platforms. In his truck, Sullivan watches his phone explode, messages from numbers he doesn't recognize, friend requests from people he's never met, emails from reporters, lawyers, veterans groups. His privacy evaporates in real time. He turns the phone off, stares at the mall. 14 months of quiet anonymity, gone. 3 seconds of muscle memory, immortalized. The thing about the internet, it never forgets, never lets you move on. This video will follow him forever. Every job application, every background check, every moment someone Googles his name. He starts the truck. Inside the mall, Bradshaw's phone rings. Corporate headquarters, regional manager. Kevin, what the hell is happening? Bradshaw's voice stays controlled. Barely. A security guard had an inappropriate response to, I've seen the videos. Plural. I've seen the comments. I've seen the news coverage. Do you understand what you've done? I suspended an employee who demonstrated. You suspended a Navy SEAL with PTSD for having PTSD during a news cycle about veteran suicide rates. While we're trying to promote our Hiring Heroes initiative, the optics are catastrophic. He made the mall look like we employ serious professionals. You made us look like we punish veterans for their service. Fix this, now. The line goes dead. Bradshaw sits in silence. Outside his window he can see the food court, see Sarah Chen and her reporters, see shoppers gathering watching news coverage on their phones. Watching his mall become the center of a national conversation about how America treats its veterans. His phone buzzes. Text from his ex-wife. Saw the news. Still making everything about you, huh? Another text. His brother. You suspended a SEAL? Are you stupid? Another. His nephew. Uncle Kevin, you're trending on Twitter and it's not good. He opens Twitter. Jar Fire Bradshaw is trending. People he's never met calling for his termination. Memes being created. His LinkedIn profile flooded with angry messages. One comment cuts deepest, posted by someone claiming to be Bud's instructor. Kevin Bradshaw, Class 347, dropped Hell Week Day 4. Now he suspends a graduate who actually made it through. Classic. Can't become the thing, so you punish those who did. Pathetic. Bradshaw's hands shake. The truth exposed. He's not angry at Sullivan for the video. He's angry at Sullivan for being everything Bradshaw wanted to be and failed to become. At 1:15 p.m., a black SUV pulls into the mall parking lot. 2 men in suits emerge. They walk with the particular bearing that suggests federal employment. They enter through the main entrance, flash credentials at the information desk, head straight for the operations office. They knock. Bradshaw opens the door. "Can I help you?" The taller one shows ID. "Agent Marcus Reeves, Naval Criminal Investigative Service. This is Agent Park. We need to speak with you about James Sullivan." Bradshaw's stomach drops. "Is he in trouble?" "That depends on what you tell us." They sit. Pull out a tablet. Show Bradshaw a video. His own video. The one that started everything. "Mr. Bradshaw, we need to verify. Is this James Sullivan, employed at this mall?" "Yes, but, and you suspended him?" "For inappropriate conduct, yes." Agent Reeves nods slowly. "Mr. Bradshaw, are you aware that Mr. Sullivan's service record is partially classified?" "He mentioned that." "Did you pressure him to divulge classified information?" "I asked about his deployments." "Did you?" Agent Park leans forward. "Threaten his employment contingent on him revealing classified operational details?" Bradshaw's face goes pale. No. I asked, but because we have a report that you demanded information about his missions that remain classified for national security reasons. Demanding disclosure of classified information, even from someone no longer in service, can constitute a federal offense under certain circumstances. I didn't know. Ignorance isn't a defense. Reeves closes the tablet. Mr. Sullivan filed no complaint. He's actually refusing to cooperate with our investigation, which is consistent with his character. But the viral nature of this incident has created a situation where we need to ensure operational security wasn't compromised. Bradshaw swallows hard. It wasn't. He didn't tell me anything. Because he has integrity, unlike some people. The words land like slap. Agent Park stands. We're done here. For now. But Mr. Bradshaw, if any details about Mr. Sullivan's classified service appear publicly, we'll be investigating their source. Clear? Yes. They leave. Bradshaw sits in his office, head in hands. The mall he manages, the authority he commands, the power he wields, all of it meaningless. 2 federal agents just walked in and reminded him exactly how small he is. His phone buzzes. Message from corporate. Press conference at 3 p.m. You will publicly apologize to Mr. Sullivan and reinstate him immediately. Non-negotiable. Another message. Sullivan's lawyer. My client is considering legal action for wrongful suspension and emotional distress. We should talk. Another. Local veterans group. We're organizing a protest at your mall tomorrow. 500 plus veterans planning to attend. Thought you should know. Bradshaw stares at his phone. The thing about power, real power, is that it can't be demanded, can't be forced, can only be earned through actions that speak louder than titles. Bradshaw tried to assert his power over Sullivan. The world responded by showing him he never had any. At 2:47 p.m., Sullivan's phone turns back on, immediately floods with messages. One stands out. From a number he recognizes. Marcus Webb. Bradshaw's holding a press conference at 3. You should be there. Sullivan stares at the message. He could ignore it, could disappear, start over somewhere else. But he made a promise. Tell them it mattered. Maybe this is how. He drives back to the mall. The resolution arrives. Ready or not. The mall's main concourse transforms into makeshift press room by 2:50 p.m. Security cordons off a section near the Christmas tree. Cameras set up. Microphones clustered like mechanical flowers. Reporters shoulder to shoulder, smell of ambition and expensive coffee thick in recycled air. Shoppers gather at the periphery, phones raised, recording everything. This is content. This is history. This is the moment when authority gets held accountable in real time. Sarah Chen positions herself front row, recorder ready. She's done her homework, pulled Sullivan's service record, what's publicly available anyway, contacted SEAL team historians, built a timeline. The man suspended for PTSD symptoms saved 200 lives in a single operation, received classified commendations, left service with honor. Now works mall security for $11 an hour. The story writes itself. At 2:55, Bradshaw emerges from the elevator. He's changed suits. Darker one, tie straighter, hair re-gelled. The armor of someone trying to project authority he doesn't feel. His face carries the particular pallor of a man who spent the last hour on phone calls with corporate lawyers, explaining exactly how badly he miscalculated. He walks to the microphone cluster. Camera flashes trigger like small explosions. He flinches. Sullivan watches from the back of the crowd, hood up. Anonymous. Marcus Webb stands beside him, arms crossed. "You don't have to be here," Webb murmurs. "Yeah," Sullivan says. "I do." Bradshaw clears his throat, reads from prepared statement on his phone. "Thank you for coming. I'm Kevin Bradshaw, General Manager of Riverside Mall. I'm here to address the incident that occurred this morning involving one of our security team members, James Sullivan." Pause. Swallow. "This morning, Mr. Sullivan exhibited a reflexive response to a low-flying helicopter. This response, captured on video, has since gone viral. In my capacity as manager, I made a decision to suspend Mr. Sullivan pending review." Someone in the crowd shouts, "You suspended a war hero!" Bradshaw's jaw tightens. "I made a decision that, in hindsight, failed to account for the full context of Mr. Sullivan's background and service to our country." "You think?" another voice calls. Sarah Chen raises her hand. "Mr. Bradshaw, were you aware of Mr. Sullivan's military background when you hired him? His resume indicated Navy service. Were you aware he was a Navy SEAL?" Bradshaw's silence answers. Sarah continues. "Were you aware he saved over 200 lives in a classified operation? That he received multiple commendations for valor? That his service record indicates the exact type of training that would produce the response you suspended him for?" "I was not aware of the specifics." "So you suspended him without investigating why a highly trained veteran might react to a helicopter that way? Without considering PTSD? Without offering support?" Bradshaw's face flushes. "The situation was evaluated according to standard protocols." "Your standard protocols suspend veterans for having symptoms of service?" Sarah's voice cuts like scalpel. "Is that Riverside Mall policy?" The crowd murmurs. Phones record. This is not going how Bradshaw planned. He abandons the statement. "Look, I made a mistake. I'm here to correct it. Mr. Sullivan's suspension is lifted immediately. He's reinstated with full back pay. We're implementing new training for management staff on veteran employment issues." "That's it?" Sarah's eyebrow raises. "You publicly humiliated a decorated veteran and your solution is a training seminar?" "I'm also issuing a public apology." Bradshaw's voice strains. "Mr. Sullivan, if you're here, I apologize. Your service to this country deserves respect, not punishment. I failed to provide that. I'm sorry." The words sound hollow, scripted. The apology of someone forced to apologize, not someone who understands why. A voice rises from the back. Sullivan's voice. Quiet but carrying. "Can I say something?" The crowd parts. Cameras swivel. Sullivan walks forward, hood down now, face visible. The same face from the viral video, but different in person. Older, more worn. Eyes holding weight that cameras can't capture. He reaches the microphone cluster. Looks at Bradshaw. "You don't know me," Sullivan says. "You know my resume. You know my service record. You know what went viral. But you don't know me." Bradshaw opens his mouth. Sullivan continues. "I don't need your apology. Don't want it, because it's not real. You're apologizing because you got caught, because the internet got angry, because corporate told you to, not because you understand." The crowd goes silent. "What happened this morning? That helicopter response. That's who I am now. That's what 8 years of operations does. It changes you. Permanently. And I've spent 5 years trying to pretend it didn't. Trying to fit into civilian life. Trying to be normal." His voice stays level, controlled. The same control that keeps him functional. "But I'm not normal. None of us are. the people I served with, the ones who came home. We're all carrying things. Reflexes, memories, losses. We're trying our best. Working jobs that don't challenge us. Living lives that feel small after what we did, and most people don't see it. Don't want to see it. He looks at the cameras now, speaks to them. This video, it showed 3 seconds of my life. 3 seconds of training I can't turn off. But you know what it didn't show? The 200 people who went home to their families because my team did our job. The friends I lost making sure those people survived. The promises I made to dying men. The weight I carry every single day trying to honor those promises. His jaw tightens. Marcus Rivera. Remember that name? He died in the same operation that built the reflexes you saw on video. He was 28, Chicago kid. Best friend I ever had. And before he died, he made me promise to tell people his sacrifice mattered. Sullivan's voice cracks. Just slightly. First real emotion breaking through. I couldn't. Mission was classified. His family got a flag and a letter that said nothing. The world never knew his name, never knew what he did. And I've carried that for 5 years, carried the weight of a promise I couldn't keep. He looks at the crowd. So thank you, all of you, for sharing that video, for making this viral, for forcing people to pay attention, because now I can finally keep my promise. He turns to leave. Sarah Chen stands. Mr. Sullivan, what do you want people to know? About you? About veterans like you? Sullivan stops, considers. That we're still serving. Every day we choose to keep going instead of giving up. That's service. Every time we control the reflexes instead of letting them control us. That's service. We're not asking for parades, we're asking for patience, understanding. The chance to contribute without being punished for what we had to become to keep you safe. He walks away. The crowd erupts, not in applause, in something deeper. Recognition, respect, understanding. Bradshaw stands at the microphones, forgotten. Irrelevant, his moment of forced apology overshadowed by 3 minutes of raw truth. Patricia Chen watches from the crowd, tears streaming. Her son didn't get this. Didn't get the chance to speak his truth. But Sullivan spoke for him. Spoke for all of them. Sarah Chen lowers her recorder. This is the story. Not Bradshaw's apology. Not the corporate damage control. Sullivan's truth. The cameras follow Sullivan as he exits. The internet will immortalize this moment too. But this time, on his terms. Outside, Webb catches up with him. Hell of a speech. Sullivan exhales slowly. Yeah. What now? Sullivan looks at the sky. Clear now. No helicopters. Now I figure out what comes next. You could go back to security work. They're begging you to stay. Maybe, maybe not. Sullivan's voice carries something new. Not quite hope, but adjacent to it. Maybe I look for something different. Something that matters. Teaching? Training? There are programs. Maybe. Sullivan unlocks his truck. Or maybe I just take some time. Process this. All of it. Webb nods. You earned it. Sullivan drives away. Behind him, the mall continues its chaos. Reporters filing stories. Shoppers recording aftermath. Bradshaw answering questions he doesn't have answers for. But Sullivan is done being part of someone else's narrative. Time to write his own. 6 months later. The gym sits in an industrial park outside Pittsburgh, anonymous brick building between auto body shop and wholesale plumbing supplier. No sign advertising its purpose. You either know about it or you don't. This is by design. Inside, the space opens into converted warehouse. Mats covering concrete floor. Heavy bags suspended from exposed beams. Pull-up bars. Rope climbs. Equipment that builds functional strength, not aesthetic muscle. Everything smells of sweat and effort and purpose. This is Iron Brotherhood. Veteran-owned gym. Veteran-focused training. The kind of place where nobody asks about your service and everybody understands why you need this. James Sullivan enters at 0600, same as every weekday. He's gained weight. Good weight, Muscle and health rather than the lean survivalist build he carried at the mall. His face looks different too. Rested. Still carries the weight, but carries it differently now. He's wearing a simple black t-shirt. Letters across the chest. Instructor. Morning, coach. A young man, 24, maybe 25, Marine Corps tattoo visible on his forearm, nods from the stretching area. Morning, Davis. How's the shoulder? Better, doing the exercises you showed me. Good. Show me your form on those. Sullivan moves through the gym, checking in with members. All veterans. All carrying their own weight. Some visible. Missing limbs, scars, injuries that announce themselves. Some invisible. PTSD, traumatic brain injury, moral wounds that no scan can detect. This is where Sullivan landed. After the viral video, after the speeches, after the offers from news networks, movie producers, book publishers. He turned them all down. Instead, he took a job offer from Derek Mason, Army Ranger who started Iron Brotherhood 5 years ago specifically for moments like this. Veterans who need purpose, structure, community. Sullivan trains them, teaches them. Not combat skills. They have those. Life skills. How to translate military discipline into civilian success. How to process trauma through physical exertion. How to build new missions when the old ones end. He's good at it. Better than he ever was at mall security. At 800, a new face appears. Woman, 30s. Navy uniform still crisp despite the discharge paperwork being months old. She stands in the doorway, uncertain. Sullivan recognizes the posture, the hesitation, the look of someone who doesn't know if they belong anymore. First time? He asks. She nods. My therapist recommended this place. Said it might help with... She trails off. Transition? Sullivan offers. Yeah. Name? Sarah. Sarah Mitchell. You don't have to tell me. Sullivan smiles. We don't do resumes here. Just show up, put in the work, figure out what comes next. Relief floods her face. Really? Really. Grab gloves from the bin. We start with basics. She joins the morning class. 20 veterans in various stages of transition. Some fresh out, some years removed, all trying to find their way forward. Sullivan leads them through the workout. Body weight exercises, partner drills. Nothing complicated. Just movement. Just effort. Just the reminder that their bodies still work, still respond, still matter. Afterward, during cool down, Davis approaches. Coach, can I ask you something? Shoot. The video, the one from the mall. Do you ever regret it? Going viral like that? Sullivan considers. 6 months ago, he would have said yes. The exposure felt violating. Every private struggle suddenly public. Every coping mechanism analyzed. Every moment of his life subject to internet commentary. But now, no, he says, not anymore. Why not? Because it led me here, to this, to you guys, and because it let me keep a promise I thought I'd never be able to keep. He thinks of Marcus Rivera, of the promise made in a helicopter over Helmand Province. Tell them it mattered. The video did that, the viral moment, the speech, the media coverage. It told the world about Rivera, about the mission, about the cost. Rivera's family reached out 3 months ago, saw Sullivan's speech, finally understood what their son died doing. Not details. Those stay classified. But enough. Enough to know it mattered. Sullivan keeps Rivera's dog tags in his desk, not as memorial, as reminder. The weight we carry doesn't have to crush us. It can drive us, fuel us, push us toward something meaningful. At 1000, Sullivan's office phone rings. He answers. Iron Brotherhood, this is Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan, this is Agent Reeves, NCIS. We spoke 6 months ago. Sullivan's jaw tightens. I remember. I wanted to update you. The investigation into potential classified disclosure is closed. No violations found. You maintained operational security perfectly, despite significant pressure. Your conduct throughout was exemplary. Okay, there's something else. The video, the viral incident, it triggered a policy review at DoD. new protocols for veteran employment, better transition support, mental health resources. Your moment of vulnerability created systemic change. Sullivan absorbs this. That's good. It's significant. Hundreds of veterans will benefit from programs created in direct response to what happened to you. Thought you should know. The line disconnects. Sullivan sits in his office, staring at Rivera's dog tags, thinking about unintended consequences, about how 3 seconds of muscle memory created ripples that spread farther than he could have imagined. At 1200, he gets another call. This one from Sarah Chen, the reporter. James, I'm doing a follow-up piece. 6 months later. How you're doing? What you're doing? Would you be willing? No interview. Sullivan interrupts. I figured. But can I quote you? Just one thing? Depends what you're asking. What's the lesson from all of this? The video, the suspension, the viral moment, where you are now. Sullivan thinks. Long silence. Finally. The lesson is that service doesn't end with discharge. We're all still serving. Every veteran who gets up and fights through another day, that's service. Every time we choose to help the next person instead of giving up, that's service. The uniform doesn't make the mission. The mission is being useful. Being present. Being proof that you can survive hell and still choose to do good. Sarah's voice softens. Can I use that? Yeah, you can use it. He hangs up. Outside his window, the gym continues its work. Veterans sweating, struggling, supporting each other, building something new from the pieces of who they were. Sullivan watches them, thinks about Bradshaw, wonder what happened to the man. He looked him up once. Bradshaw resigned from the mall 3 months after the incident. Moved somewhere else, started over, maybe learning his own lessons. Sullivan doesn't hate him, can't afford to. Hate is weight, and he's carrying enough already. Instead, he chooses something harder, understanding. Bradshaw tried to become something and failed. That failure poisoned him, turned him bitter. When he saw Sullivan, saw someone who succeeded where he failed, it triggered something ugly. But that ugliness revealed something beautiful. It revealed community, support, people who saw the viral moment and recognized their own struggles. Veterans across the country who watched Sullivan drop into combat crouch and thought, that's me, that's us. The video that was supposed to humiliate instead unified. That's the thing about vulnerability. Shared vulnerability creates connections stronger than any wall. Sullivan's phone buzzes. Text from Derek Mason. New kid starting tomorrow. Marine, 22, struggling bad. Thought you should meet him first. You free at 1700? Sullivan replies, I'll be there. This is the mission now. Not classified operations in distant countries. Not dramatic rescues that stay secret. Just showing up. Every day. For people who need someone to understand. Some missions make the news. Some change policy. Some save hundreds of lives in single dramatic moments. And some, the most important ones, happen quietly, in gyms, in conversations, in the steady, unglamorous work of helping people survive the peace they fought to protect. Sullivan stands, walks back into the gym, back to the work. The people who protect us most are often the ones we never see. The missions that save lives are the ones that never make the news. And sometimes the greatest service happens after the uniform comes off, in the quiet choice to keep serving anyway. That helicopter still flies over sometimes. News chopper covering traffic. Sullivan hears it, feels the old reflex trigger, but now he just breathes, acknowledges it, lets it pass. The muscle memory remains. The response fades. Progress isn't erasing what happened. Progress is carrying it forward without letting it carry you. Sullivan learned this, teaches it now, lives it every day. The video exists forever, 3 seconds immortalized, but those 3 seconds don't define him anymore. What defines him is what came after. The choice to stand up, speak truth, build something meaningful from the wreckage. That's the real story. That's what mattered. Marcus Rivera would approve. To everyone who shared where you're watching from, thank you for recognizing those who serve in silence. Subscribe for more stories of unsung American heroes who prove that true greatness needs no announcement. See you in the next one.